Thank you for joining me in today's video. If you're one of my early subscribers, thanks. I do appreciate that. And if you're not, be sure to subscribe. In the next video here, I'm going to do a 36-pack opening. So if that's already uploaded, take a look at that. Hopefully, I end up getting a lot of good stuff, so stay tuned. That's going to be a lot of fun. And in today's video, we are going to take a look at a budget Mono Red Aggro deck. Now, I've got a few cards that I've made with wild cards, but as you can see, I don't have very many wild cards left to make this much better. If you have rares, please use them on Goblin Chainwhirlers. That will make all the difference in this deck. But for now, we'll work with what we got. I've got 4 Ghitu Lavarunner in there. So 1 casting, 1, 2, and as long as you have 2 or more instant and or sorcery cards in your graveyard, Ghitu Lavarunner gets +1/+0, and haste. 4 shocks, it's a 1 casting, deal 2 damage to any target, pretty much a staple in red decks. Also 4 lightning strikes, which is a 2, 1 in a red, and does 3 damage to any target. As of now, you have 4 lava coils in every collection. I ran this with lava coil, but didn't like it as much because lava coil only targets a creature. And so if you need to do damage to face or something, then this is a better option. 2 of the Flame of Keld, which is a saga. When it enters the battlefield, you discard your hand. Then the next turn on your draw step, you draw 2 cards, or your upkeep technically. So the turn after you play this, you draw 3 cards total. And then the turn after that, if a red source you control would deal damage to a permanent or player, it deals that much +2 for that turn only. So it's a roll of the dice card, but it's a lot of fun. Sometimes it works. We'll find out if it works here in a minute. 4 Viashino Pyromancers, 2 casting, 2/1. When it enters the battlefield, it deals 2 damage to target player or planeswalker. Another staple card in a red deck. I would leave this in there. 4 Legion Warbosses. I got lucky with packs and got 4 of these, so I put them in here, which is a 3 casting, 2/2 with Mentor. And at the beginning of combat on your turn, create a 1/1 Goblin creature token. That token gains haste and must attack this turn if able. Also throws a loop in your all attack button. I'll explain that as the game goes on. 2 risk factors. 3 casting. It's pretty much 3 casting for 4 damage. Nobody ever lets you draw cards. But it's a decent card draw, so you draw 3 if they don't take the 4 damage. It also jump starts, which is a great way to get rid of the extra land. 3 Trumpet Blast. Ideally, this would be anything else, but for now it's Trumpet Blast. Attacking creatures get +2/+0. I've won games with this before, but it's not all that useful. I would swap it out with anything else if you have it. Wizard's Lightning is a 3 casting, 3 damage. If you have a wizard in play, like a Viashino Pyromancer or Ghitu Lavarunner, it's like an old school lightning bolt, 1 red for 3 damage. 2 of my Rekindling Phoenixes. This is great for having flying, just because you can't always sneak in with your ground game, so it's good to have a flying game. And of course, it comes back when it dies. So for 4, you get a 4/3, and it's tough to kill. So they'll throw a lot of resources at it just to get rid of your Rekindling Phoenix. And then you sneak in, and lo and behold, a Trumpet Blast is what kills them. It's pretty funny. Also, 3 Charging Monstrosaurs. I debated on the 4th, but that makes the top end pretty expensive, and you don't always get to it. So a 5 casting, 5/5 trample haste is pretty good, and you got 4 from the collection, so they're available. I threw 3 of them in this deck. It works. It's not going to win you every game, and it's not going to be as consistent as I'd like it to be, but we'll play through a few games, and we'll see where we land. I'm not sure if everybody was able to enter the code for the new cards that you get. They gave everybody some staple cards for this is, at the time of this video, Skills of Ravnica is the latest expansion. We're at least 6 weeks away from Ravnica Allegiance. That's cool. So I'm going to keep this hand. I've got 4 lands, which is all I need to make the deck work, and hopefully I don't draw into land. That does happen sometimes. But there's only 22 lands in the deck, so I should be able to... Maybe there's 24. I should be able to draw into something that's not land, and ideally start casting spells to make my Lavarunner a 2/2. If he's playing Dimir, this may not go well for us. I'll need my lightning strike. This is going to help me get up and under him. If he plays another, like a watery grave or a guild gate or something, well, he could thought erasure me at this point, which is not ideal. That's probably the worst card to see on turn 2. Cast down is a much more favorable option. So. Terrific. So now you can see the power of Flame of Keld happening early on. unless he makes me discard it, which I'm terrified of. So next turn I can play my 4th mana, Lightning Strike him or something else, and a Flame of Keld. Depending on what I draw, it will slow me down greatly if I draw my Rekindling Phoenix. Oh, there goes... What would you take in this case? Flame of Keld? I don't know. I don't know if that's the right move or not. Because now, well, it turns out it would have been because I could have cast it. Yeah, perhaps that was the correct move. So, mental note, if you ever thought erasure somebody and they're holding a Flame of Keld and a Lightning Strike, take the Flame of Keld. It takes more damage off the table, I think. Oh boy, and we're drawing nothing but mountains. That's terrific. I thought about sneaking Banefire into this deck, but the mana base doesn't really build up to something that Banefire would benefit from. Oh, there's Ritual of Soot. That slows us down greatly. And we're drawing nothing but land. Here we go. It's been like this the past couple of days where it's just land after land after land, or no land at all. It's kind of weird. I've seen some chatter on the forums about maybe was a change in the algorithm. I don't know. I've played enough Magic, though, to see this happen in paper all the time, so I don't really worry about it. Today we're having a helper. This is Gus. He's like my 2nd favorite cat. He's not going to settle down enough for a photo opportunity. Here's the Doom Whisperer. So all we got to do is sneak in for 5. And this is going to be kind of scary to him, but not scary enough. I don't think my Phoenix is going to go through. Vraska's Contempt is coming, which exiles it. I don't care much about the sacrifice because it'll just come right back. And if I draw any kind of direct damage, I win the game. Well, unless he attacks with his Doom Whisperer. If he doesn't attack, then he saves it as a blocker. He's in better shape now. So I get my Phoenix back. Cool. Alright, let's do this. What are the odds that he kills my Monstrosaur and then takes it with the Eldest Reborn? He's at 1. That was a pretty risky play. He can't Surveil with his Doom Whisperer. I don't have to discard because I didn't have a card in my hand. Next turn he can sneak a creature out of a graveyard. His graveyard doesn't have any creatures. Mine's got some puny guys and a Monstrosaur. So he has to block. I'm going to save this Trumpet Blast. It's an instant, but it'll make him think I've got direct damage or something. Or he could take my Phoenix now. Maybe I should not have attacked. So I've got to kill his Doom Whisperer. Or his Eldest Reborn gets me and he counters it. Typical. Oh, whoops. Oh, that was a bit of a misplay on my part, wasn't it? So if I don't attack, I save my Phoenix, and on his turn he gets a creature. He could take my Phoenix and I don't get one back from the egg. Because you have to find a card named Rekindling Phoenix in your graveyard, not any graveyard. Oh, those pesky rules. This is a good example of what not to do with a Rekindling Phoenix. Doesn't have haste. Only if you get it from the token does it have haste. He didn't have to do that. Maybe he did that for the life gain. But again, there's one of half a dozen cards I could draw that will end this game if it's a matter of time. Though perhaps he's got enough control left in his hand to finish this out. See, that's the thing. You really gotta get up and under these control decks, or you're toast. There's just not enough mustard. We're about to take 10 damage. That's not very good. We'll be at 4 with my own Phoenix that I shouldn't have attacked with. Oh, no. There's that guy. He's saved enough for a counter spell, yeah? 2 blue in any color. And a good old mountain. So we're going to mountain him to death. Okay, so he wins this game. Good game. Quickest way to get muted. Just tell me it was a good game. I don't want to hear it, man. Just win the game and move on. Okay. Well, that flying is no fun. Alright, let's see if we can't squeeze out a win here. Actually, I did pretty good. I've been playtesting this deck all day. And these 10 wins right here from this quest are all from this deck. It is possible. But you can't fizzle out when they've got that 1 to 3 life, or 1 to 5 life. It really wants to fizzle out. There's not a lot of staying power. A couple of Chainwhirlers changed the game. This is too slow. What is with this thing? I'll keep that hand. Yep, good. Alright, so we'll save the shock just in case he plays I don't know what I would want to shock. Maybe Gutter Snap or something. Yep, Viashino, that's true. Afraid of a 2-1, so we let it live and we can meet him with a Viashino of our own, and we just see who's got the better cards. Another all right. Let's see if he's got a shock or something for mine. See, if I was in his position, I might shock. Now I'm going to have to do some removal of my own here. No, maybe not. Let me get this Warboss down and hope that those 3 cards he's got don't include another shock or other type of direct damage. And then I'll show you how this attack all button changes when you've got this Warboss. Well, maybe. We'll see if he lives. They never do. Yeah, there it goes. This goblin, on the turn that it's summoned, must attack. And sometimes that messes up with people's literally aiming of the buttons. I'm going to cook one of these guys for him just because I'm tired of tricking me for 2 every turn. So 1 mountain, I get a Charging Monstrosaur. That's pretty scary for him to deal with. He can't Lava Coil it. Well, he can, but he'd have to Lava Coil it and shock it to kill it, and then it would get exiled. It's pretty good. Pretty good 5-drop. It's expensive. He will wish he had that in about 3 minutes. Because he's thinking he's got the game. Maybe he's counting. I'm going to have to use a Wizard's Lightning on a Viashino Pyromancer. We got the boards cleared out. He's got 2 cards in hand. I'm hoping they aren't too deadly for us. Maybe we can recover from this game a little bit. It's not ideal. Of course, we're going to sacrifice our token. Oh, I don't have the mana yet. Of course not. See, like last game, it was nothing but mana, right? This game I had to mulligan down to 4, and I can't draw a mountain. Oh boy. Captivating Crew. So this game's over. This was a mana screw game. That's terrible. Yeah. And another lightning strike, but there's still no way to win. Okay. Well played. You got me on the good old mana screw. Okay. Not that 4 mountains isn't enough to do anything. It's just impossible to get any wins out there when you end up mulliganing, taking that mulligan down to mulliganing. So we'll see if I can't get a good draw and hopefully show off what the deck does. This is a little abnormal to lose those 2 games like that. A lot of times it'll sneak up on some folks. Alright, let's try this out. This looks good. A full 7 cards. All of them are supposedly playable. We'll save our shock just in case he plays a turn 1 Llanowar Elf. Those don't live. Oh, that's terrific. A swamp. Okay, here we go. So once the Pyromancer's 2 damage goes on the stack, you can't stop it. A lot of people make that mistake where they'll try and stop the damage from happening when you cast it. That might work in like a local game store or something, but it doesn't work. That's not the intent of the card. And I'm going to save. I've got a shock or a Wizard's Lightning to use. So this is terrific. If he doesn't cast a scary creature, I save it for the end of combat or the end of his turn. And then nope, I did it wrong. Click too fast. Ho-hum. I'm going to shock a Saproling and sneak in for 2. Well, that's probably not the best move. I did this once before in a playtest, and I said, okay, if he's at 2 and I lose the game, then I should have shocked him in the face, and I lost the game when he was at 2. But the way I see it is it's an even trade. So now, if I let this resolve, my Wizard's Lightning costs more money. So I'm going to cast it now, hit him in the face with it. I don't care if he has a 2/2, it doesn't bother me. But he can't have that health pool. So you sure can kill my Pyromancer. Let's go. And I will... Here we go with the 4 mana once again. We'll pass the turn. No problem. We got this. He can attack me for 2. But then whatever he casts after this, I might want a Lightning Strike. Or if it goes to my turn, I better get this right. Well, I can't Lightning Strike that guy, can I? So we're going to Lightning Strike this. Okay. Alright. We drew a Wizard's Lightning, which is a 3 casting for 3 damage at this point. That's alright. If he's got life gain, if he's got like Sovereign's Bite or something silly in there, that would not be great. I don't have anything to sacrifice, and then I can discard my Trumpet Blast, which again sucks. Perfect. So now if I draw a Swamp Mountain, I can hit him for 5. There we go. And on the discard, I will discard Trumpet Blast and hit him for 3 and hopefully win the game that way. But again, if he's got a Sovereign's Bite, or if he's got, let's not get this wrong, discard that piece of crap, or a Vampire Sovereign even, or he can hit me for 5 more damage. I don't know how he could do that. He could Vraska's Contempt. Oh, rats. That's an extra 2 health for him. So now he's at 5. And I'm at 5. Alright, that's the game. Yeah, so there we go. Burn to death. We'll play one more game, just to hopefully show some consistency, because the burn, we didn't fizzle out this game. We had some staying power with a good hit with our 5/5 Monstrosaur, which is generally what you're looking for to win the game. And I feel like we've played nothing but black. Oh, we got a card! Oh, World Soul Colossus. This is a terrific Celestia card. One more game. So we've lost the first 2, whatever, we lost them, no big deal. Won that one. Pretty, I mean, a lot of the wins are going to come that way if you're using like budget style cards like I have to do. If you've got the Chainwhirlers, you're in business. If you've got Runaway Steamkins, you're in business. Oh boy, 1 mana. Can't keep it. 4 mana. I'm going to keep this because I have an early risk factor. and risk factor has jumpstart, and I kept the Flame of Keld in there also, so I can use my jumpstart to get rid of some unwanted lands, and then get 8 damage out of the deal. So I'm pretty happy with having a risk factor in my opening hand. Risk factor is a super powerful card. I love it. It goes in every one of my decks that I've got red. I don't care. It's 3 for 4, but it's such a fun card to play because you can time it sometimes. And like the first one, watch, when I do it the first time, he will take 4. They always take 4. And then when they get down to like 11 health, they have no idea how to play it. But I wouldn't either. Like if you're at 11, do you take the 4 or do you give up the 3 cards? Because you know 2 of them are going to be burned, right? Oh, and even the Wind Mage. Nice. Now let's see what we draw. Otherwise, ooh, that's too good. So we're going to hold the risk factor for a minute. We're going to get our Legion Warboss on the field and not counterspelled. Big one. Alright, there we go. I would really hate to see a Crackling Drake. Or a Shock. Boy, what's he got there? He must have a tough decision on his hands. Ooh, maybe mana issues? I don't know. Why would he chart a course? Unless he's got that Phoenix, unless he's trying to get those Arclight Phoenixes in his graveyard. I could hit him with a Shock and a Risk Factor and try and clear my hand out in preparation for the Flame of Keld. Now what's super useful about this is that I can, depending on what I draw into, with the Flame of Keld, so I'll explain this in real time here. So check this out. So Risk Factor goes out. He's gonna pay for it. I already know it. Yep. He'll do it. He won't let me draw. They never do the first time. I'm gonna shock him in the face area, right? Then we're gonna attack. He's gonna shock my Legion Warboss. Too late though. See that? So he did it too late. So now I get the other token that must attack. So he's going to take 2 because he poorly timed his spell. So you've got to shock the Legion Warboss as well before... Yep, he knows it. Alright, so here comes a big 2. Big whoop. Just 2 damage, right? But next turn, with any luck, I can drop the Flame of Keld. So something that would keep me from dropping... If I draw into a Charging Monstrosaur, then that's what I play. But if I draw anything else... and I'll hold my tokens back until my flame pops. Unless he counters it. He's got enough for a counter spell at this point. Perfect. So I want to play my mountain. I want to play my Ghitu. Which I'm going to attack with. And we're going to see if he blocks. Perfect. I was hoping he would do that. Okay. Okay, so now we're in combat phase. We can't play anything. Be careful with your buttons. No attackers. Don't. Okay. And then we drop the Flame of Keld. Doesn't matter what it does. Risk factors in the graveyard. You'll see. It won't go away. And he could, gosh, he could negate it. So Flame of Keld lands. We don't have a hand to discard. Risk factor is only here indicating that we can jumpstart it. So now when we draw those total of 3 cards next turn, if one of them is garbage, we can use it to discard to risk factor. and depending on the timing, I might wait 2 more turns to do that, so he takes a total of 6. I'm going to hang on to that mountain. See if this Lavarunner makes it through. I don't want to attack with it this turn. Oh joy. So we pass the turn. We're going to take a risk here. Because next turn, I can sneak in with 2 goblins. If he... Oh. Okay. Sneak in with 1 goblin. which will hit him for, if I do the Trumpet Blast, it'll hit him, this one Goblin will hit him for 5, big deal. But it'll also kill his Pyromancer, or his Electromancer. 5, 6. So I can't do the Risk Factor and the Trumpet Blast unless I draw something relevant. I'm not blocking. A long way from victory if he's just hitting me for 2 every turn. I wonder if he realizes what a mistake it was to attack because Flame of Keld is about to pop. As much trash as I was talking on Trumpet Blast. River's Rebuke is a sorcery, so he can't return permanents to my hand. 2 attackers. And let's see what happens in the damage phase here. I'm going to Risk Factor. Let's do a Risk Factor in response. And then if he counters my Risk Factor, I'll know more about what he wants to do. He's going to have to give me the cards or take 6 from Risk Factor. Holy cow. And that'll hit him for 5 and end the game unless he's got a bounce or a shock or the next direct damage spell. He's got it! Are you kidding me? Man. What? What a load of garbage. And then I'm going to draw nothing but mountains. Oh, man. What? There's like a dozen cards in this deck that will just end the game right now. Man. That was like we were going to sneak in and Trumpet Blast was going to be the unsung hero of the game. In an unbelievable... No way. No, he's not. Why? No. Don't ever bounce a Viashino Pyromancer. Why would you do that? If I could stop drawing mountains, maybe I could win the game. Yeah, I don't know what you're thinking, buddy. He's at 1. We're drawing nothing but lands at this point. Islands for him, mountains for me. There's the Enigma Drake. Any direct damage spell, of which there are many, any one of them wins the game for me. There we go. That's fine too. Goodness sake. So there you have it. For a budget deck, despite losing those 2 games, I mean that happens. You know, I don't try and edit out the losses just because I think it's important to see that you're going to lose and the ways that decks like this are going to lose, especially in the budget space. But for a budget red aggro deck, it works pretty good, more than half the time. So it'll get you some wins and some red cards that you play, if you have to do the red card play quest. So it's a lot of fun. Thanks for watching. I do appreciate it. Take care, and I'll see you next time.